The history of democracy begins archaeologically in ancient Athens in the 5th century before Christ, where citizens participated in city decisions through discussion and voting. In the 4th century before Christ, Pericles extended citizen involvement while democracy evolved in the city-states of ancient Greece.
Subsequently, the idea of democracy spread to other parts of the world, such as ancient Rome, where the Roman Republic prevailed for much of antiquity.
During the Middle Ages, the idea of democracy remained alive but often limited to specific areas and social classes. During the Renaissance, democracy resurfaced with the idea of philosophers and politicians, while in the 17th century, the English Revolution and the French Revolution brought further political turmoil, strengthening the concept of democracy.
The history of democracy is a continuous journey towards evolution, with the common idea that citizen participation in political decisions is essential for the prosperity and freedom of society.
Which is the institution that strengthens democracy in the European Union the most?
The institution that most strengthens democracy in the European Union is the European Parliament, being the only direct elected body within the European Union institutional structure. The European Parliament represents European Union citizens and carry out legislative function, including the power to amend, approve, or reject European Union legislation.
Parliament also has a key role in the democratic control of the European Union institution and participate in the appointment of the European Commission, including the approval of the President of the Commission. The European Parliament is therefore fundamental in ensuring that the voice of European citizens is heard and considered in decisions that affect the daily lives of its citizens, and in promoting transparency and accountability in European Union operations.
The European Union is founded on a number of key values, which are listed in Article 2 of the Treaty of European Union. These values include respect for human dignity. Human dignity is untouchable and must be respected and protected. Freedom includes various personal freedoms, such as freedom of movement and freedom of expression, as well as economic freedoms, such as the free movement of goods, service, capital, and people. Democracy, fundamental to the functioning of institutions and to ensuring that decisions are made by representative consensus as much as possible.
Equality. Equality is a fundamental principle which includes equality before the law and non-discrimination. Rule of law. All action and decisions within the European Union must be based on the principle of democracy and legality. Respect for human rights, including the rights of persons belonging to minorities. These rights derive from the traditions of member states, international law and international agreements, including the European Convention on Human Rights. Pluralism, non-discrimination, tolerance, justice, solidarity, and equality between men and women. This principle guide not only internal policies but also the European Union's actions on the international scenes.
All EU countries share certain core values. These are human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, rule of law, and human rights. The EU safeguards these shared values to ensure that inclusion, tolerance, justice, and solidarity prevail. The fundamental values of the European Union represent the pillars of the identity and functioning of the EU. The respect and promotion of these principles are necessary to maintain cohesion and solidarity between member states and to ensure a sustainable and inclusive future for all European citizens. It is also important that these be passed on the new generation for all society to be respected and united.
The concept of human dignity is the belief that all people hold a special value that is tied solely to their humanity. It has nothing to do with their class, race, gender, religion, abilities, or any other factor other than them being human. Freedom of movement gives citizens the right to move and reside freely within the Union. Individual freedoms, such as respect for private life, freedom of thought, religion, assembly, expression, and information, are protected by the European Union Charter of Fundamental Rights. The European Union functions on representative and participatory democracy. Being a European citizen means enjoying political rights. Every adult European Union citizen has the right to stand as candidate and to vote in the election for the European Parliament. European Union citizens have the right to stand as candidates and to vote in their country of residence or in the country of origin.
Equality is about equal rights for all citizens before the law. The principle of equality between women and men underpins all European policies and is the basis for European integration. The principle of equal pay for equal work became part of the Treaty of Rome in 1957. The EU is based on the rule of law. Everything the EU does is founded on treaties voluntarily and democratically agreed by its EU countries. Law and justice are applied by an independent judiciary. The EU countries gave final jurisdiction to the European Court of Justice. Human rights are protected by the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights. These cover the right to be free from discrimination on the basis of sex, racial or ethnic origin, religion or belief, disability, age or sexual orientation, the right to the protection of your personal data, and the right to get access to justice.
Unfortunately, some member states are not able to integrate these fundamental values into their society, and this leads to a gap between European countries. We hope that there will be an improvement and that we will succeed in creating a continent where citizens can live peacefully and in harmony.
Last time, our Spanish friends told us all about the European Commission, a very important institution for the EU. Today, we'll try to answer the question they asked us. Which is the value that strengthens democracy in the EU the most?
The European Union has a lot of different values, all very important to protect the well-being of its citizens. Among all of them, we think the most important one is freedom. It is what allows us to be ourselves, but also what allows us to choose what kind of society we want for ourselves. Indeed, democracy was built upon the right for people to decide the future of their countries. But what is freedom exactly? Even though the idea we have of freedom has changed over the years, we can say that freedom is a right and possibility for one to act, think, and live as one wants, without fearing to be punished in any way. The European Union protects all kinds of freedom, each of them representing a very important aspect of the fair society it tries to create, and of democracy. For example, it states that every citizen is free to have the education they want to, or to dispose of their own lives, when they are old enough, of course. It also ensures the freedom of association, freedom of emotion, of marriage, any kind of civil liberties, or many more. Today, we will focus on 4 of the most important ones in our opinion: freedom of expression, freedom of media, freedom of move, and of course, freedom of vote. All of them are common and essential to all of the members of the European Union.
Freedom of speech. When it comes to freedom of expression, we can divide the idea in 2 categories: the freedom of speech and the artistic freedom. According to the European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights, every person has the right to freedom of expression. This right includes freedom of opinion and the liberty to receive and to communicate information or idea without having to fear the reaction of public authorities and without any consideration of borders. Freedom of speech is also crucial when it comes to whistleblowers. They prevent and protect people from transgression of human rights and appears as guardians of democracy.
Restraining the freedom of speech means restraining the expression of the person you are. Your opinion matters. As long as it's not insulting, expressing yourself is a way to assert your personality. Freedom of expression is also crucial in order to highlight the different problems of the society, and also to progress in the construction of our point of view. We need to share our opinion and be aware of other people's thoughts. Indeed, finding out what others are thinking about allows us to better understand the world in which we live and reach the truth.
Artistic expression. The expression of our thought can be done through the words, but also by the artistic expression.
A picture is worth 1,000 words, as they say. This is why art mustn't be restrained. It's used to express feelings but also opinions. The artistic expression is also used to share an opinion to the public. It can be political, for example, or in this case, environmental.
As said before, within the European Union, the freedom of the media is a cornerstone of democracy and is firmly embedded in both its legal system and its core values. Its importance comes from its ability to support democracy in a number of ways, including fundamentally, a free media environment promotes diversity of opinion and pluralism by offering a forum for many viewpoints on issues related to politics, society, and culture. It guarantees that individuals are exposed to a wide range of concepts. A knowledgeable electorate is cultivated by this diversity, which is necessary for active democracy participation.
Ensuring that citizens have timely and accurate access to information is a crucial component of media independence. Medias are essential to the dissemination of news and analysis in democracies, empowering citizens to participate meaningfully in public affairs and make educated election decisions. The media contributes to preventing the consolidation of power and ensuring that democratic norms and values are respected by exposing misconduct of the government and offering critical analysis of policies and activities. Free media, under the framework of the EU, promotes mutual understanding and cross-cultural exchange among member states. Through bridging language and cultural divides, media enriches the variegated tapestry of European identities and promotes solidarity and cohesion within the European community.
The right to vote stands as a foundational element of democracy in the European Union. Registered in the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights, Article 39 defines the right, ensuring citizens' participation in electing representatives and keeping the principle of democracy. This right emphasizes the essence of free and fair election, reinforcing the legitimacy of governmental bodies.
Voting is not simply a civic duty, but a fundamental right essential for democratic governance. It empowers citizens to engage in the political process by choosing their representatives, therefore shaping the direction of their country. Universality, equality, freedom of choice, and the secrecy of the vote are integral components that safeguard the integrity of democratic elections, ensuring that every voice is heard and every vote counts.
Everybody has the right to vote, but it's not the case everywhere in the world. European unions need to promote it so every voice in the world could be heard. Right to vote is also an important value due to the fact that not everybody was able to vote not so long ago. In fact, the right to vote is recent for women and the military in France. For example, it was only in 1920 that they had the right to speak. This right is surely the most precious, since it's the source of all the others. The right to the media and the right to travel, to move. It's the one that defines the future of people, a nation, and perhaps even the world.
The objective of the 1957 Treaty of Rome, the Common Market, was one of the first concrete achievements of the European Economic Community. The customs union between the 6 founding countries came into effect in 1968. In line with liberal principles, the removal of obstacles to the free movement of goods was seen as a must for economic development.
In the 1990s, this market became known as the single market, or internal market. It was based on 4 freedoms: free movements of people, goods, services, and capital. But it was also based on a certain degree of tax harmonization.
Free movement of goods is based in particular on the abolition of customs duties on the European market. In other words, member states can trade goods with each other at no extra cost and with no quantity limits. Nevertheless, various controls are carried out both inside and outside the EU, in particular to ensure compliance with European standards.
In 1985, 5 countries, West Germany, Belgium, France, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands, decided to extend free movement within their territories to countries that had signed the Schengen Agreement. In the Schengen area, named after the Luxembourg town where the first agreement was signed, internal border controls will be abolished.
In 2024, the Schengen area includes 29 countries. The Schengen area and European Union are 2 overlapping but not identical territories.
As we said before, all of these freedoms are essential to democracy and to ensure a good and fair society. But we should not forget that the other kinds of freedom are just as important. Indeed, without them, none of these freedoms are complete. If we can get the education we want, we won't be cultivated enough to be able to vote for what is best for us, for example. We just saw that freedom is quite well protected by the European Union, and is probably its greatest strength. However, while the European Union can have a beneficial impact, there are some values that aren't emphasized enough, and people might want to lead the EU in another direction than what it's currently aiming for. So, in your opinion, what are the values which should be more important in the European Union?